All right. Ooh, wow. I gotta make this video right quick, man. Hey, you tourists. It's your boy Domination. This is back at the basic. Sean gonna do so I would do Texas baby. Man, Dallas back. You know this it is. Real men rise up, fake men rise down. Real women rise up, fake women rise down. Right through our preacher, preach on. And welcome to the Back of Basic broadcast, Back of the Basic. But today, broadcast of the streaming that we're gonna talk about today, man. Y'all see the title and y'all see it itself, but I really want to talk about this. Really. I don't know much about Bruce. I know a much information about Bruce, but I didn't know much really about him because he was came from my parents' generation. He died before when I he died in his time and my parents' time when I know about him later. So I want to ask y'all a question, man. How good Bruce Lee was? Because we hear rumors about Bruce Lee, you know, people say that Bruce Lee was a fraud. People say that. People say that all the time. And even though he was been teaching by Al Penman, the Wing Chunk, the founder of Wing Chunk or whatever, they make Wing Chunk, Al Penman, a series about him before he was teaching other teaching of the Wing Chunk school and also to teaching Bruce. But really, how good Bruce Lee was. I've been hearing rumors about Bruce Lee. You know, some people say that Bruce Lee was so good that it's hard to keep a camera aim. You know, it's hard to keep a camera glance at him. That's how good Bruce Lee was at that time. That's how good he was. They said he can, you know, his kicks is strike is lightning. Every time he throwing kicks, it's hard to keep a glance at him. It strike like light. It makes him strike thunder sound. That's how quick Bruce Lee. It's a lot of mystery around this man, and people say that Bruce was was so fast when he hit you. You don't even know if he hit you. You know you felt something, but you don't know what. I wish I could test Bruce to see how good he was because people been saying for years that there was no one like this man, even though he was born in San Francisco. But even though there was it actually the birth certificate to translate him to to Hong Kong all the way to San Francisco. You know, Bruce Lee, he made great films. My greatest movies of Bruce of all time when he did the Chinese Connection and the Big Boss and the Ways of the Dragon. But Chinese Connection was my favorite. Big Boss was okay, but the greatest movie he ever done in his whole career is the Game of Death. He never get the chance to finish that, even though they finish it. Put a card, put a admit of his head on a computer graphic of him to make it seem like he's actually a movie. He's not. They just put his head in somebody else's person's body. I just didn't like that. And all these copycats, uh, 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 copycat, copyment Bruce movies, I didn't like them too much because I feel like this. No matter what people feel about Bruce, Bruce is the founding father of mixed martial arts. He was mixed with karate, Chinese boxing, you name it. He mixed a lot of that stuff. But he don't believe in style. He believe you define the finding of your fighting. He always say fight without fighting. What he meant by that is sometimes when you in this life you have to fight even if you willing not to fight. You don't want to fight, but you have to willing to fight for your life. I get what he was trying to say. And then he had the way of his teaching, the Queen Kudo, the way of the fist. But once I know about Bruce, when I asked my parents who he was, and asked, they say he was named Bruce Lee. He was incredible. I never seen anybody that fight and moves and different fight technique that he did. But I asked my parents, like, he's still making movies? And he said, no. Where is he now? I asked him where he's now. They said he's dead. I know about him later when I was like 7 or 8. I didn't know much about Bruce until I watched his movies. Even though I grew up watching Jackie Chan, Chuck Norris, and all, he opened a lot of doors for them and Wesley Snipes. But here's the thing, people say this all the time that he might be good on movies, but can he good in real life? People say he can fight, even in those movies. They said Bruce Lee kicked the man so hard, far near a bunch of a large crowd. They say that. They say that that's how quick this man really was. But Bruce have a lot of falling enemies because some people were jealous of him. And I'm gonna say something else, man, to Michael John White to try to say he can beat Bruce. See, I'm gonna leave that alone right there because if he think he can really beat Bruce, he had to put it to test that if Bruce was still living. Because if Bruce was still alive, he gonna give him the biggest fight he ever give in his life. Trust me on that. I like John White, but he ain't got no match with Bruce. I'm sorry. The way he can fight and fight and stuff like that, he can land a kick when you will land a kick out of your ass. That's how quick Bruce Lee was. But anyway, man, even though he passed away for the death misadventure, that's how he died. But a lot of people believe, even not only the fans, but even some Bruce Lee's family believe he was murdered. I believe he was murdered, no question about it. But it's fucked up what happened to his son Brandon Lee. How the fuck you gonna die with a fake gun, put a real bullet? It just didn't make no sense. It's like somebody put a curse struck on that dude. I just he just can't get out of his father's shadow, and that's the sad part about this. But tell me what you think. How good Bruce Lee really was, because people been saying that Bruce was a fraud. People say that he's not as great as everybody think he is, but without Bruce, man, martial art wouldn't be what it was is it now, even though a lot of great masters for him. But Bruce made an impact of the martial arts world. And he's still been talked about to this day. This man is still making money, even though from his daughter and his mom. And they not only lost their father, they lost their brother. And it's kind of sad. I ain't watched uh The Crow since after Brandon Lee passed away, but they was gonna make a remake, but I'm glad they didn't make the remake because that's disrespect Brandon Lee and the time has passed. But really, people, tell me what you think. How good is Bruce Lee is? Are Bruce Lee as good as everybody say he is, or are they just imagining of things, of story and myths around his his demise of the time on this earth, even the past on his death? But just tell me what you think. Give me a like and share and subscribe my channel. And there's be a whole lot more to go. That's all I gotta say. Give it and that's all I gotta say that I have to bring today. It's your boy Domination. This is back in the basic. Chunk of the Deuce out text, baby. Till next time. All right. All right. Peace. I'm out. All right. Peace.